Welcome, superstar. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how to create packages and programs instead of selling your services based on time or effort. Let's go. First, I'm going to get into why packages and programs are better than hourly pricing or effort-based pricing. And then I'm going to talk about exactly how to conceptualize and structure your packages to make your time more leveraged and also be more profitable. So one of the biggest issues I've personally faced when I was doing a lot of this work in the beginning of my business, and also that I see a lot of my clients face, is that they get into this time for money hamster wheel where they are constantly having to sell more effort in order to make more money. So I see this a lot with my speaker friends, my coach friends, especially those who are doing one-on-one coaching, consultants, where basically every time they get a client, they have to invest their time and energy in that particular client in order to make money. So it looks like maybe getting another gig and hopping on another plane and preparing another keynote or another workshop. Now, definitely you can have some economies of scale as you get better and better and get more and more known. You can charge more for your keynotes or for your workshops. You can definitely make more money that way. You can also maybe train somebody else to do it for you. But the challenge is there's always a new effort that has to be expended in order to make more money. And so what I'm trying to do is help you leverage your time and your effort and your energy so that you can have one input and generate multiple outcomes. What I mean by that is creating something in a group format like a retreat or a mastermind program or a group coaching program where it's one-to-many, and no matter what, you're always doing that same, let's say, weekly call every single week, and you can add more people into it. So it's a lot more leveraged. And also another thing that I'm looking for, which we're not going to dive deeply into in this video, is how can you create something that people sign up for once, but then they're paying every single month so that you're collecting monthly recurring revenues, okay? So the first thing I want to shift, right, it's kind of more of a perspective shift before we get into the actual strategy, and that is shifting your focus away from your effort and your time and towards the outcome. One way to think of that is you're shifting your focus away from what it takes you, whether it's easy or hard or whatever it is, but essentially your efforts and your time, and shifting the focus to the outcomes to the client. Now, I know this might sound a little bit obvious to you, but it's a really big distinction, because what I found is a lot of times people say, well, I'm going to charge more for this because it takes more of my time. I get it. I understand that you want to get paid for your time and you want to get paid more when you invest more time. But what we really want to start thinking about is getting paid more for the outcome and the value delivered to the client, and really starting to look at pricing and packaging and programs from the client perspective. Now, I know that I've just spent a whole bunch of videos explaining to you why it's so important to operate from the inside out. And we're at this turning point now. We've already done a lot of that inner work where we've decided, here's what I love to do, here's my highest value, here's what matters to me, here's my purpose, here's the business model that makes sense for me. Now that we have all of that clarified and clear, we want to start to turn our attention toward the client and their perception of value, partly because when we separate our inputs and our effort and our time from the client's perception of value, we can start to see that there are things that the clients perceive as valuable that may not actually take a lot of time or energy from us. Let me tell you a story to illustrate what I'm talking about. It's a story that one of my mentors told me. It's really her story. I hope she doesn't mind me telling it to you guys, but I will share who the storyteller was so that you can always, if you want, look her up. Her name's Jody Johnson, and she was my business coach for a few years in Miami, Florida. She's brilliant. And she tells a story about working with a wedding dress boutique was her client. And this wedding dress boutique they had these beautiful, expensive, imported wedding dresses that were lots and lots of money. Let's say that the dresses were like $5,000. I don't remember the exact number, so I'm making it up. And they were telling Jody that they had an issue where people would come into the dress boutique and they would fall in love with the dress, and then they'd ask the salesperson for a discount. And the salesperson would give the discount because they didn't know how to say no. And it was only a 10% discount was what they were allowed to give. So they would give this 10% discount. Now, 10% off of $5,000 is $500, which is no small amount of money, but it's also not a huge amount of money. Except that when you take the profit from the profit, right? The dress, let's say the dress cost $2,500. Their profit was $2,500. 500 out of 2,500 is actually 20% of the profit. It's a much bigger chunk of the profit. So the store was really losing a big chunk of their profits in these discounts that they were giving. So they asked Jody, how do we fix this? How do we take the focus off, and not give a discount, even though we want to do something nice for people? And so Jody came up with this idea. She said, well, is there anything in the store that you sell that's a low cost to you, but has a high perceived value with the clients? And the dress owners, the boutique owners said, yeah, over here we have this wall full of veils that come from Argentina. They're handmade, they're beautiful. They don't cost us very much, but they have, people really love them, and we sell them for about $250. And Jody said, perfect. The next time somebody asks for a discount, what you're gonna do is you're gonna say, we don't give discounts, but you can come over to our wall of veils and pick out any veil you want to go with your dress. The idea was that, and it worked, right? People were so excited, like, their eyes lit up. I get to pick any single one I want. Sure, you can pick any one you want. Now, first of all, they were way more excited about that than they'd ever been about a discount. And second of all, imagine that bride at her wedding, and somebody telling her, hey, your dress is beautiful. Now, before, do you think that a bride is going to tell somebody, oh, thank you, I got it here, and they gave me a 10% discount? Probably not. But you can imagine that when she said, oh, thank you, I love my dress too, and look, they gave me this veil for free when I bought my dress. Now, that's something she might share, and that might actually, promote somebody else to come into the store. I'm not sure about that part. I'm making that part up, but I can imagine that it's a lot more exciting to share about this beautiful free thing that they got than a little 10% discount. Anyways, this worked really, really well. And the reason it worked well is because the focus was away from the effort, the time. It was away from the perspective of the shop owner. Like, imagine if the shop owner said, no, I don't want to give you a discount because I really need to make more profit on this dress. From the owner's perspective, true, but from the client's perspective, the client doesn't care if you make a profit or not. They just care about their experience. But the owner was able to transfer the focus from their own desire for profits over to the client, the customer's desire for a beautiful wedding experience and a beautiful wedding dress experience, okay? So the focus comes over to the client. And that's the same thing when you're putting together your programs and your products. So instead of focusing on, for example, all the things that you can stuff into a program or a package, oh, I'm going to give them this and this free thing and that free thing, and I'm going to add this, I'm going to add an hour of my time, right? Really getting away from that and instead focusing on what is that customer outcome? What is that client outcome? What do they really want and need? And one other way of looking at that is the distinction between the cure that they want, the outcome, versus the medicine that they need to take to get there. Now, before I go further on this topic, I do want to take a moment to invite you to like this video and subscribe to my channel. When you subscribe to my channel, you will find out every time I drop a new video. You'll get a little alert right here in YouTube. And if you're in my Superstar Business Breakthrough program and you're seeing this video in Thinkific, then maybe take a moment, make your way over to YouTube and click like and subscribe over there. Thanks. So as you're designing your programs and your packages, I don't want you to think yet about what goes in the package, all the line items of things, like I'm going to give them this, I'm going to do that. All that is important and we will get there. But first, foremost, primarily, what is the customer outcome? What is the client outcome that you want to deliver? What is it that they want and need as an outcome? Now, one of the things that can often happen is that we can get caught up in planning all the ways that we're going to get the outcome and all the different elements that we want to give or that we have to give, all the information that we've gathered over the years doing the work that we do. And what instead I want you to think about is that client outcome at the end of the day, and then work your way backwards to think about what do they need to get in order to achieve that outcome. Because most likely you'll find it's a lot simpler and a lot less than what you think it is. Now, one of the challenges that I come up against when we do this work, especially in the retreat, which if you're in my retreat program, we'll be doing this together soon, is that people get caught up in giving every single piece of the journey. They get caught up in all the different things that they could give instead of simplifying. Here's the thing, simpler is better. Medicine versus cure. I remember I was going to tell you about this. People want that cure. They want the outcome. They don't necessarily want to take the medicine. When people are putting together programs, they think that more is better. Kitchen sink strategy. They think that if I give 10 hours of audio content, that's more powerful than 1 hour of audio content. Now, it might make you feel better to give them 10 hours, but I can promise you that the client would rather get the outcome in 1 hour than in 10 hours. So don't price your program or package it based on everything that's in your program. Really try to tighten it up to get it to its most succinct and simple form to achieve that outcome. Now, we don't want to skimp on getting the outcome. We want to give them everything possible to get the outcome, but we want to do it in the simplest way possible. For me personally, that's why I found that a 3-day program is so much easier to enroll people into than a 6-week or an 8-week or a 12-week program. Why? Because people want the outcome faster. Like I could do a program where you do your business breakthrough, you design your new business model, you price your program and packages. I could do it in 12 weeks. But what I found is people are more excited about the prospect of doing it in 3 days. Now, if I need 12 weeks to do it, okay, fine. But if I can do it in 3 days versus 12 weeks, then I want to simplify and synthesize it down to its essence. And that's what I believe is the core of a good breakthrough program. Now, you might also be designing a long-term program because you know I'm a big believer in the big back end, monthly recurring revenues. But that's a different program to design. When you're doing the monthly, ongoing, big back end program, that's where you want to look at what does it take to master this concept. So when you're designing your breakthrough, your retreat or your initial breakthrough program, keep it tight, keep it short, keep it sweet, have a very specific outcome. And then when you're designing that big back end, yes, you want to have a clear outcome. And that outcome is some version of mastery. What does it take to master this? And that's where you want to look at what's the ongoing thing that you need to deliver to generate mastery. And again, keeping it simple. Like I have people all the time that say, okay, I've designed my big back end and I'm going to have a weekly call. I'm going to have a monthly retreat. I'm going to do a meditation every month and I'm going to give them this and this and this. And I'm like, do they really need all that to get that outcome? Are you just throwing it in there to make yourself feel better about charging the price that you're charging? I found that actually pulling things out of the programs can be more beneficial. And here's one last really important thing to know. When it comes to these group coaching programs, masterminds, long-term coaching programs, one of the number one reasons, if not the number one reason that research has shown that people cancel is because they're not using everything that's available and they feel guilty about investing money in things they're not using. So it's another really good excuse or reason, I should say, for you to simplify your programs and really focus on pricing and charging and selling based on the outcome rather than based on everything that's in it. I hope that that makes sense to you and that I've gotten through to you to keep it simple, keep it tight, and remember, information is not transformation. So price and package for the transformation, not for the information. I hope you appreciated this video and that it was helpful for you as you're designing your packages. If you're in my retreat, I'm so excited to see you soon and help you with these packages myself. And if you're not, you might want to check out more at superstarbusinessbreakthrough.com. Learn about my programs and see if maybe one of them might be a fit for you.